I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm going to tell you, this is the largest crowd we've had in the last 4 years that we've been doing this. So let's give everybody a big hand. And you know, I'm going to do something we don't always do, but I'm going to do it tonight because we have so many people here. I want every veteran in the room to stand up, and let's give them a big hand. We thank each and every one of you for your service. We know the sacrifices that every one of you made. We got some housekeeping things to take care of, so we're going to do that first. First of all, I'll introduce myself because we've got a bunch of new people here. My name is Dan Hervey. I'm the commander here this year. So I've been here around 38 years, but you know, I've been on that committee for staying off of that, but I got nominated this year. So anyway, I've been emceeing this thing for the last 4 years. I guess they like the way I do that. We have some people to thank. We had a really good dinner tonight, spaghetti and all the trimmings. I'd like to thank Ann Clark and Teresa Rao for cooking. Give them a hand. Judy Friesen helped serve, so give her a hand. And if you enjoyed those desserts, and it's time after month, again, Helen Nichols did the desserts. If you found a flyer on the table, there's an error that's my fault. Okay? Bill Lindholm is not an Army veteran. He served in the Marine Corps. Hoorah! Hoorah! But I said it's my fault because I have to do the publicity. I've been gone a couple of months. I brought up my last thing I sent to the radio station. The guys were Army, and I let it go. It was Army. You know, and Loren up here was Army, so it was my fault. So don't blame Jim. Don't blame it. Blame me. You know, I'm forgiven. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to get started. Oh, one more thing. You know, we have family night here at our post every third Thursday of the month for nonprofit organizations. We just had that last week, but we had a nonprofit scheduled for April, and they backed out, and we can't go without doing the family night. So we're going to do it for the American Legion next month. And in so saying, we need people to sell tickets. I have tickets up here in packets of 10. They're $60. I'll trust you to take the ticket and bring the money back. But if you would see me afterwards, I'd be happy to give you tickets to take home and sell to your neighbors. Hey, better yet, just buy 10 tickets and give them to your friends. I mean, it's a great, great cause. And in the last 23 years that we've done that program, we have, and Roy Wash back there started it, we have put back over $250,000 into our community to the nonprofits. So those nonprofits make anywhere from $1,000 to $1,800 when they do it. And all they have to do is sell tickets and furnish some desserts. We take care of the rest. And we need our volunteers. So if you want to volunteer, we've got things for you to volunteer. Okay, moving right into this, we're going to introduce Loren, but I twisted some arms, one of my golfing buddies here, Dennis Friesen, to do a little recruiting. And he was able to twist an arm here from an old buddy that worked at the refinery. So I'm going to let Dennis introduce Loren. And he's going to ask some questions, and when Loren's done, we'll bring up Bill. But Dennis, you're on.
Okay, I need the microphone for him. Okay, my name's Dennis Friesen, by the way. This guy here, I met when I started working at the refinery.
Okay.
And that was before Hector was a pup. So it's been a while. This guy is 91 years old. So anyhow, I met him at the VFW the other night, and we got to talking, and I said, "You look familiar." And I got to look, and he says, your last name's Phillips. I says, you bum? He goes, yeah. So I thought, okay. So then his son, Jerry, was over there. I says, hey, I need some help because we need to get your dad to talk at like one of our veterans nights. And he says, we'll work on it. So about 2 weeks later, I called him back up, and he said they would do it. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to sit down, and I got some questions that I made up myself, so hopefully I can get them done. But I'm going to ask Loren one question at a time because he's a little bit difficult with hearing, and he's 91 years old. And by the way, I need to introduce Jerry, his son, and his great-granddaughter. Right there. Glad you could make it. Jerry was supposed to sit up here and ask his dad, but somehow he got me to do it, so I guess we'll go from there. Okay, you ready to go, Loren?
I guess.
Yeah. All right. Okay. You sure?
Yeah, I guess they can hear me.
Okay. All right. Introduce your family. We did that already, so where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in Roxbury, about
Roxbury?
3 west and a mile and a half south.
Is it still there?
Well, there's a silo and a barn there.
Okay. That's good. So where do you live now?
Galva.
In Galva?
Yeah.
Can you find your way over there from here?
Yeah, just about.
Okay. Okay. Where'd you work before you retired? All the jobs. Can you tell me where all the jobs you worked at? Don't lie.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Okay.
I told him he could stack it on
All
us.
the jobs I worked at, I probably worked at, the first one I worked at was McPherson Concrete when I was in high school.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah, I learned how to lay some bricks or lay some silo staves.
Hold it. Yeah, almost on your nose. Right there. Right, that good. Right there.
Okay.
Where'd you go after McPherson Concrete?
I think I went to work for
You can make it up. We'd never know the difference.
Well, no, but I can remember the one after that. The one after that was oil company for the wells around. I was roused about for oil company that had some wells out there at Roxbury.
So where did you retire from?
NCRA.
How long did you work there?
35 years.
He was my shift supervisor at night. And the supervisor had this habit of going to Brownsville, Texas in the wintertime. And Loren had a fifth wheel over there, but for some reason the pickup disappeared. He had it stolen when he was down there. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah. We just drove into, can't even think of the name of the town now.
Brownsville.
Anyway, it was on the border, and they had to cross where you went across that. And we parked the car or the pickup, and Bill and Trish Krause was with us. And we went across the bridge, and when we came back, why, I couldn't find my pickup, and Bill said, well, it was right there. It ain't here no more. And there was a little camper right beside us, and I thought I heard somebody in it when we got it there and got it parked. So, but it was still there, but there wasn't nobody around. So.
And yeah, we had one of the guys that we worked with there at the refinery. He was a really good artist.
Yeah.
So he drew a picture of a fifth wheel and Loren pulling it with a rope. I wish it would have been cool to see that. It was good. So,
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about your military life now.
Okay.
When did you join the military?
What?
When did you join the military?
When the county called me up and said, let's go to work.
Did they knock on the door or what?
Yeah. Yeah, it was something else.
So can you explain a little bit the very first part of your military life? Everybody remembers that.
Oh yeah. Well, I went.
How old were you?
I think 19 or 20, something like that. Anyway, we went to Camp Crowder, Missouri that's where we went. Well, then they transferred us, made up orders for us to go to California, Fort Ord, California. So they flew us on an old 2-engine jet, or it wasn't a jet, it was a motor, but it was kind of like a bird flying, and wings were flopping up and down. But anyway, we got out there, and it was, we thought it was real warm. Well, and we stopped in Arizona and at some place to fuel up the planes, I guess it was. But and they didn't have a drop of water in that place, no place to drink. So we finally ended up at Fort Ord, California.
How old were you when you joined?
About 20.
The draft knew about you?
What?
Did the draft know about you?
They drafted me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you? You were 18, you said 19, 20?
What?
You were old enough to know that you had to be drafted, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I know enough to have to get signed up for it.
Okay, starting with, we talked about this, I kind of briefed him a little bit earlier on this.
Yeah.
When we started at basic training, remember that day? The very first day of basic training?
Yeah, I remember that day.
Was it good or bad?
It was bad. Yeah, well, at Fort Ord, I thought it'd be nice and sunny. Well, they gave us summer clothes when we left Kansas, and we didn't get any winter clothes for another week after we got to Fort Ord, so it was kind of cool.
So you had to keep moving to stay warm, right?
Yeah, well, it rained. It rained, and there was ice in the rain on the ground.
Where were some of your duty assignments? Where'd they assign you to?
Where, in the Army?
Yep.
Well, I just went where they told me to go.
You know, you weren't so dumb as they thought. You know that? It's pretty good. Didn't take you long to learn that either, did it?
No, I didn't.
You were in Korea.
Well, and then I went through basic training, and then I went and I knew I was going over to Korea, so they had a school you could go to, and it took 6 weeks. So I took that and went through that, and I made PFC, and then I had to leave for a while to go home, and then my dad got a extension for it, so that I could help him cut his wheat.
In other words, he lied, right?
What?
Did he lie to him?
Yeah.
That's the way they work that, you know that.
Yeah. Anyway, anyway, finally went back, it was late, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and this old boy just checked me in. He gave me a Class A pass and let me go to the barracks. And when I got to the barracks, I thought, oh, this ain't too bad. So, and then they would fall us out every day, and then they'd pick you go KP or over here on this mess hall and over here at that mess hall. So I got tired of that, and so I they asked for volunteers.
You never volunteer. You don't volunteer anything.
Yeah, I did. But it was a typist or something else anyway. It was clerk or typist. I volunteered for the clerk because I couldn't even type. I still can't. Anyway, we kept, and the first thing I done, they had 2 cards when you went into that company. That wasn't at Fort Ord, though. This was on down in California someplace where they shipped out. I can't remember the name of it. Stoneman, I think it was, Camp Stoneman. Yeah, and I was there for 3 or 4 months because they was in this control room where I was working. They had 2 cards, and 2 of them, one of them was your locator card and your detail card. So the first thing I done was took my both of my cards out. And they kept hollering, and they called me Phil. And but then they had a guy, sergeant in there that was calling out over the mics in the company there, and they was looking for Loren Phillips, and after I listened to him for about half a day, I
Finally figured out it was you, right?
no. So I went and told him, I said, you just don't get calling for him. I don't think he's going to show up.
You never volunteered. Hey, did you learn to type?
No, I didn't learn to type.
What were some?
But I know one time I made out, took the detail cards and made out the schedules for KP and for the deals and stuff. Well, it turned out that I made up the list of the people that was going overseas, and they was already gone. So I just, they said, well, you got to get somebody in. So I just went over this. I and somebody else went over this barracks and called, got them all woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, you're on KP.
You probably made a lot of friends that way, didn't you?
Yeah, and they said,
Once.
and they said, well, I'm a sergeant. I said, yes, you are. You're a sergeant in charge of the KP down over there.
Okay, what were some fun times you had?
You what?
What were some fun times that you had?
Fun time?
Yeah. Be honest.
Well, I wasn't old enough to drink in California, but I could drink on the base. So
You learned that real quick, didn't you?
right. We went to the beer joint. They had awful green beer. So it was.
He was telling.
And then when I went over, I wasn't hungry, but I had a can of peanuts on the boat, and I ate them instead of going to the meal and eating. And I got sicker than you can believe. So then I started eating, and I got over it.
Why don't you tell us about you? We were visiting earlier, and he told me about a time he was in Japan at the bar. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You remembered a little bit of it.
Yeah, okay. I can't remember the name of the drink, but there was a little jar about 3 inches high, a little glass, and about 2 inch and a half big around, and there was kind of a sweet drink. I think there was something with vodka in it or something.
No, couldn't have been.
And anyway, they bring us a drink, and we'd drink it and set it on the table. We'd come bring another, and we'd drink it and put it on the table. I got to looking, and there wasn't no more room on the table.
You probably couldn't stand up too well either, huh?
No, well, we were just downstairs from where we had to go to bed.
Well, you could have spent the night down there then. You could have spent the night down there.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble?
I don't think so.
Come on now.
I can't think of anything really that I got in trouble for.
You mean that you were that good a boy?
What?
Soldier? You were that good a soldier?
Yeah, I was a good soldier.
Okay, now, he actually called a lieutenant colonel around, is that right?
Yeah, Lieutenant. Yeah, well, see, I went over, when I was over, when I got there, they took me on the train up to the front lines, and the train it had no windows in it. It had just kind of slat seats in it and stuff. And we went through some of these places that they had some trinkets and stuff for sale and stuff along the road, and the train would stop at some of them, and they was little kids out there in thongs and there's snow on the ground.
Well,
and it was cold.
What were some of your best memories of the military?
Yeah.
What were your best memories? Be honest with me now.
What was
'Cause
my
you
best?
Yeah, you told me some earlier, so they better be the same.
Well, I think the best time was when I was coming on the on the train from California to Colorado because I was getting out of the Army.
There you go. So how many years did you spend in the Army?
Just 2 years.
2 years. Did you learn a lot in 2 years?
Yeah, I learned quite a bit.
You never raise your hand.
Never.
You never volunteer for anything, right?
Well, not really. Oh, I take that back. I really had some. I got in trouble for one thing that I done.
One?
Yeah. We were on front line, and when I went into the company in the 7th Division in the 31st Infantry, when I went into that load, there was nine supposed to be nine people in a squad, and there was only like 4 or 5 of them left. And that's why they put me in it and handed me a BAR. And I had to carry, it had a tripod on the front of it and everything. And anyway, so we were up there on line for a while, and I knew we was going to have to, because every time they moved, why, they run out of truck. They truck everybody but the company I was in. And we'd have to walk over them mountains. Well, then we got to where so then I was up there in a bunker, and I thought, I'll just leave this tripod up here. I don't want to carry it. But then when I got down there, the sergeant, he lined us all up out there and said, and he had that thing in his hand.
Uh-oh.
And he said, here, take this and don't leave it anyplace.
So, did you make some good friends while you're in the Army?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. But
You know, the sad part is when you're in the military, you meet all these people, you figure you're never going to, you're always going to be friends forever. But that don't happen that way. So you get back home, poof, they're gone. You try to think, well, maybe I can find it. With the internet stuff now, it makes it a whole lot easier than it did when Loren was in. So anyhow, hey, we appreciate your time.
what?
We appreciate your time for coming over here.
Oh, okay.
Now, I told him, don't stack it on us too deep. We can figure some of this out as being wrong. So you got to remember that. But he was a good man at the refinery, and I talked to him at the VFW, and he's willing to come over and help him with that. We really appreciate it.
Anybody have any questions you want to ask Loren before he gets away? Guess not. We're going to let you get off of there. If you want to get down and sit down here, we'll. I was talking to Loren a little bit earlier. I'll fill in a little bit here because I had a brother that was drafted the same time he was and went to Korea at the same time. And that was my brother said it was the coldest winter he ever spent in his life. So if you know anything about Korea, it was really, really, really cold. Lots of soldiers lost fingers, toes, frostbite. I don't know exactly. He said front lines. My brother was right up there with Pork Chop Hill. So.
I was on a Pork Chop, Old Baldy, and Jane Russell.
Okay, he was there too. So that was he. You guys know what we're talking about. All right, thank you. Give him another round of applause. And Jerry, thank you for bringing your dad down.